Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk Start Collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the Beasts of Chaos Vanguard box set, and how to use this particular box set to get us started with the Beasts of Chaos in the current season of Warhammer Age of Sigmar in Andtor. Now, we're going to go through the content of this box set, talk about all the units, the options, and indeed the kits that are sometimes dual kits, and what we can build out of those kits in this particular box set. We'll then look at some other units we can use to expand upon the initial purchase with after that. Finally, we'll finish off the video with a little sample army list for you to use, hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own Vanguard Beasts of Chaos force for Andtor. And so, to begin with, we have a Great Bray Shaman. This is an Andorian Locust Wizard because it's underneath the 9 wound cap. Now, it has a couple of cool abilities. First of all, it has Infused with Bestial Vigor. You add 6 inches to the range of all heroic actions from the Rituals of Ruin battle trait that you carry out with this unit. And this can only be used while this unit is set up in ambush as a reserve unit as well, which is pretty cool. You've then a 1 cast and 1 unbind wizard with the Devolve spell, which allows you to pick an enemy unit within range, invisible, and until your next hero phase, roll 3d6 before that unit makes a normal move, runs, retreats, or makes a charge move. If the roll is greater than the bravery characteristic, the maximum distance of said move is halved. So pretty cool utility there. Now, the first unit we get in here are Gors. Gors are a base battle line unit available to us for the force. Gors are going to have the option of either going their pair of Hacking Blades for 3 attacks, 4s, 3s, no rend damage 1, or they can go a Hacking Blade and drop down to 2 attacks, but they will gain the shield as well, which will give them a save characteristic of 4+ rather than 5+. Gore Stampede is their special ability, where at the end of your charge phase, if this unit made a charge move in the same turn, you pick an enemy unit within 1 inch, and on a 3+, that unit they charged will have the Strike Last effect. Next up, we have the Ungor and Ungor Raiders. This is a dual kit and can be built as 2 different variations. Now, the Ungors are a really cheap chaff unit. They are 80 points for 10 of them, and they have 2 different weapon options. You can either take the pitted blades and spears, or you can take the nailed short spears, which do give you a nice short 8-inch range attack as well. Fleet of Hoof means in the combat phase, when you pick this unit to fight, you can say it will evade the enemy, and this unit gets to retreat instead of fighting. So really cool at being, annoying for your opponent. They have to either attack these Ungor straight away, giving up, maybe a more necessary combat, and then watching your Ungor just flee out of a combat and not take any damage at all. Now, Ungor Raiders are the other option. They are a shooting unit available to the Beasts of Chaos. And they've got a really cool ability with Hidden Volley, which actually allows them to shoot while they're off the table. Next up, we have 10 Bestigor. Bestigor, as it might suggest, well, they're the best of the Gore. You have Ungor, they're not very Gore. You have the regular Gore, and then you have the Bestigor, which are the best. Now, Bestigor are decently expensive at 200 points for 10 models. You are going to have 2 wounds each on a 4+ save, which is really nice, and a couple of special rules. First of all, Despoilers, which adds 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons while this unit is within 3 inches of an enemy unit that is used all-out defense. A pretty cool sort of ability that really makes your opponent think, do they want to have the all-out defense, because you will be getting more attacks through. And Bestial Charge means you subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks that target this unit that were made by missile weapons by an enemy unit that uses the Unleash Hell command on them when they charge. Now, lastly, we get 3 Dragon Ogres inside this box set. Dragon Ogres are really fun. They can become battle line if you have a Shaggoth in your force, which is really cool. But in general, the Dragon Ogres are going to put out a decent amount of attacks with 5 attacks with a Stormforged weapons, 3s and 3s, rend 1 damage 2, and a couple of extra attacks with a Raking Forelimbs. Storm range means if this unit made a charge move, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack by this unit is a 6, they will automatically wound. And then Beneath the Tempest, at the end of the combat phase, they can potentially heal and do some mortal wound damage to your opponent's units as well. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. Now, looking where to go next for the Beasts of Chaos, and the first thing we're going to talk about isn't an Andorian Locust. We'll get on to the one other we have access to with the Beasts of Chaos next. but it is the Sigmar. This is one of the monsters, and I think he really does have a bit of fun potential in the Beast of Chaos while we're playing in this wizard heavy meta. So Soul Eater means he gets to attempt to unbind 2 spells in the enemy hero phase in the same manner as a wizard. In addition, each time it successfully casts a spell and the spell is not unbound, the caster will suffer a mortal wound around him as well. So he does a little bit of damage, splash damage to your opponent's wizard. So they need to be careful. The Andorian locusts generally don't have much more than 5 wounds for a lot of armies, and so these can be really easily, sort of stack and make them quite easy targets. Now it does have a consume endless spell monstrous rampage as well, where you can just take endless spells off the table, which is really nice. On top of that, he has a desecrated boulder where he can throw a nice giant boulder at a wizard and squish them for 5 damage. Now, next we have the Vanguard Shaman, and this is going to be another one of the Andorian Locusts, 6 wounds and a 4-up save. Now, it's a 1 cast and 1 unbind wizard, but you do have some cool abilities. Sorcerer's Elixir allows you to, once per battle in your hero phase, you can attempt to cast an extra spell. If it does, you can add 3 to the casting roll for said extra spell. And then you've got Boon of Mutation as well, which is a mortal wound damage dealing spell as well. And for each model slain by a mortal wound caused by this spell, you can actually bring Zangors to the table as well. We then have the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, a good sort of piece to go alongside your Dragon Ogres, as he does provide them with some benefit from Scion of the Primordial Storm as well. He will be able to ignore the effects of spells and endless spells. Summon Lightning, he can do some healing on friendly Thunderscorn units, which is really cool. And Beneath the Tempest, same as the regular Dragon Ogres, he can do some mortal wounds and heal himself at the end of the combat phase. Now lastly, we have the Beasts of Chaos Endless Spells, and they do have a variety of good endless spells, I think. So the first of these is going to be the Raven Wing Direflock. This has 3 parts to it, and so they all sort of need to stay relatively close to each other, but models cannot issue Rally or Inspiring Presence while they're within 6 inches of this endless spell, though this has no effect on your Beast of Chaos units. The Stalking Shadow as well means you can stop your opponent being able to receive commands while they're within 6 inches of this as well, so a really good disruptive endless spell. Next, we have the Wildfire Taurus. This is a predatory endless spell, and Whirlwind of Destruction allows you to do some damage on a 2+. You do mortal wounds to your enemy, but you also give them the Strike Last effect as well. Lastly, for this, we have the Dirge Horn as well. The Doomblast Dirge Horn is the cheapest of all our endless spells, but does have some cool abilities. When this endless spell is 6-up, it has a range of 6 inch to begin with, and at the start of each subsequent battle round, it increases its range by another 6 inch. You subtract 1 from wound rolls made by attacks by units that are in range of this endless spell, though this doesn't affect any Beast of Chaos unit. And so here we have our sample army list. Now, we've gone for the Quake Fray in here. The cool thing with the Quake Fray is it actually turns our Sigors into priests, but also at the same time makes them a battle line option as well. So we have our grand strategy being protect the Herdstone. I think for Beast of Chaos, this is just a general one. You always want to protect your Herdstone to keep the buffs up, so generally quite a good thing to be doing. Now, a Great Brave Shaman will be our general with the Twist Fray Cursed Beast, and what this allows this model to do is it gets a bonus to its casting rolls based on the turn number. So by the end of the game, it can have, up to +5 on its casting rolls. Really good for pushing through late game powerful spells. We then have an artifact on it with the Blackened Talisman of Chaos. This will stop magic and endless spells being able to hurt it as it gets an ignore. And then we have the Tendrils of Atrophy spell. Now, you definitely have some options here with the spell. I really like Tendrils of Atrophy for a good spell for the Beast of Chaos, but Merciless Blizzard certainly could be an option here. If you can get this model to survive the game with that Twist Ray Cursed Beast and push through that Merciless Blizzard, can be a really powerful end of game spell. Battleline wise, we have 10 Gore, we then have 10 Bestigore and our Psygor. The Gores will be armed with paired hacking blades. I just feel the offense is always better than the defense here. And then the Psygor has a prayer curse because he does become a priest, so he can select a regular prayer. We then have the Ravenwing Direflock as an endless spell, and in our other units we have 3 Dragon Ogres and 10 Ungor Raiders. Everything here will be wrapped up into a single 1-drop force and a battle regiment and a perfect 1000 points on the nose, so there is no triumph for the force. If you've got some ideas on how you would build your Beast of Chaos army for the current season in Andor using the Vanguard box set as the core, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And so, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community, we have a Discord server which is linked down in the video's description, and also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel, either by Patreon or YouTube members, or by grabbing yourself some merch from our Teespring store as well. All of those are linked down in the video's description, and a special thank you to our YouTube members and patrons. We'd like to give you all a shout out, so thank you to our YouTube members John Castle, Disco, James Tillman, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, Ariana Edwards, Broken Chef, the Johnny84, Lock Lorick, Ronya, Greenroots Gaming, and our patrons Wasaren, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Redman, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. Thank you all once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.